This video is to teach you how to seed a database, but not just one table, but tables that are interrelated. So in the previous video, you saw how to, in the previous seed video, you saw how to seed the table books for our bookstore book review website. Now that we've augmented the model with another table called reviews, and it's intertwined with the books, I want to seed both tables from one sitting. So I will go to my model class, whatever the class was that I was seeding the books in, right? It's within models. ADB, I called it seed books in a previous video. But basically, this is just a class. I'm going to add a method to initialize this. It's going to be this public static void initialize db. So then I can call it in the program.cs, just like I did in the previous video about seedings. The key is in here, in this class, where I'm going to seed both places. So first, I'm going to check, I'm going to use the context to access the database. I'm going to be using the context equal book review context. This is exactly like the previous seed database class. It's if I give a service provider here, a service provider that get required services of the type DB context options, and which that is of the type book reviews context or whatever your application is, and then the word context followed by it. Then I'm going to check if there are any books in the database, because if there are books in the database, then that means that someone seeded this already. So if context books any, I could add and context.review.any, right? So to check both books and reviews. But for now, I'm just going to say if there are books, then the database is seeded and I need to do nothing and just return. If it is not seeded, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple of book instances. So if it's not seeded, so if it did not return, I'm going to create book 1, which is going to be Harry Potter with its author, the release date, and the price, and book 2, which is going to be Lord Jim by Joseph Conrad with the date, right? And just like I did in the first seeding video, I'm going to add this to the book context, and I'm going to save the changes. So first I'll create a little array here. Seed books. I create an array because I want to make a reference to these books when I put the reviews. So that's important. I'll create an array of book models with B1 and B2, and then I'm going to put it in the context book, put it in the table, and save the changes. Now here comes the reviews. I'm going to create also an array of reviews. So let's look at the reviews now. So for the reviews, I'm going to create an array of reviews as well. And for each review, let's look at one review in particular. So for example, I'm going to create a new review. As opposed to doing the reviews R1, R2, R3, R4, I'm just going to initialize them in the initialization of the array. So the first review, I need a book ID, right? But I don't know the book ID of book 1 or book 2. So the way I get it is I refer to the array of books, then the method single, which will select one book in there. And what is the condition to select a book? I will select a book M, such that the title of that book M is Harry Potter. Okay? I don't need the parentheses there, but they're there anyways. So once I select that book, then I get its ID field. And that is what is assigned to the book ID field of my book review. Then I assign a score and a comment. For the second review, same thing. It's going to be another review for Harry Potter. Again, from the array of books, I'll select one such that if the book is called M, such that the object's title is equal to Harry Potter. Once I select that book, I will extract its ID field. Okay, its ID field right here. And then the third review is going to be for Lord Jim. So now I have an array initialized with several reviews. And now I'll just add it to the context and save the changes. So context review, add change, and save changes. And that is how you will see it, how you will see a table that has multiple dependencies, right? If the tables that don't have multiple dependencies just create arrays with records for the table and do context.thetable_name.addRange, the array, and save changes is the same. The only thing here is that we're using this kind of syntax to search for the book IDs of books that I referred previously. By the way, this here is called, this kind of expressions are called lambda expressions, okay? An expression that takes a parameter and then looks at something with that parameter and returns whether it's true or false or some other value. Anyways, that concludes the seeding video. Let's test it. And then we go to our books list. And once we're in our book list, we can look at the details which bring the reviews for each book. And we can see that, for example, Harry Potter has these reviews, and Lord Jim has other reviews, right? The one review here. We can also look at the actual reviews controller, the index of the reviews, right? And see that all my reviews are here for the different reviews.